Honestly, I'd like to say thank you to you for admitting us into your presence at this time, particularly given that today is a public holiday. Nigerians are in their homes enjoying 60 years of living in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Rotary has a vision. Well, before I go to the vision, I'd just like to explain that Rotary is 115 years old. Turned 115 in February 23rd. So, but the next year we're going to be 116. It is, as far as we know, the first and the foremost service organization. Service organization in the sense that Rotary actually came together as friends. It was started by a man and 3 friends of his who were simply bored in the city of Chicago and they wanted to do something different. And they started sitting together at lunchtime, have a drink, have a meal. This person is a lawyer, this person is a miner, and all of that. They sit together. So I give you my legal service, you give me whatever it is you do. And that's how their friendship started. And then more people joined them. And before they knew it, they moved from one person's house to the other. Because they figured, we meet at restaurants, we eat in restaurants. Maybe we should actually go meet in our homes, rotate our homes or offices. And the moment the word rotate came in, somebody said, you know what, to be a beautiful idea to call this thing we're doing, Rotary, because we are rotating from one person's house or office to another. And that is the origin of the word Rotary. Simple, 115 years ago. So it started like an organization for friends. But after a while, when they have enjoyed their friendship, they said, you know what, we sit here, we have fun every now and then. There are people who are not as fortunate as we are. Can we do something different for them? And that's how service came into it. And before they knew it, service overtook it. But we still remember friendship. And that is why I can only ask a friend of mine to come to Rotary. So we maintain the essence of friendship in Rotary. But we also have extended ourselves to serving those who are not able to do the things that we do for them. The reason I'm telling this story is because people say, how much do they pay you? Pay you nothing. How do you serve? You contribute what you have. So that brings me to the vision of Rotary. And I'll just paraphrase it, I'm not going to quote. But we are a bunch of people who come together. We see a need, we take an action, we solve the problem. We might not solve it 100%, but we'll solve it as much as we can. That is really the vision of Rotary. Number one, we are friends. We come together, we identify a need, we take an action. And those actions bring lasting changes in our communities. And while we're bringing those changes in our communities, we're also making changes in ourselves. Because I joined Rotary about 18 years ago. This wasn't my outlook. As a matter of fact, I joined because a friend of mine kept asking me to join, and I said, you know what, I found reasons not to join. Until one day I said, you know what, let me just satisfy her and go. After today, I will not go again. When I went and listened to the things that were happening, I said, my goodness, why did it take me so long to make up? Nobody pays you. You get to see the need in the communities around, and you say to yourself, I want to be part of this. Yesterday, I had a story about a small program in Uganda that had to do with supporting an initiative. That initiative was about a lady who wanted to learn to sew, and they had this little program of some kind of a skills acquisition. That woman eventually was able to acquire the skills in sewing. She went further because of support from Rotarians to establish an institute where she trained thousands of people to learn how to sew and created an opportunity for them to now earn income through sewing. Years later, one of our members who was in Uganda when this story came up now met a young man many years later, and he said, because of you, this friend of ours we're talking about had been to an international convention and contributed only $1,000 towards a project. He could have spent that $1,000 to buy himself some gifts as he traveled abroad. Indeed, he did buy a few shirts for himself. But a few months later, a few years later, he didn't remember anymore the shirts that he had purchased. But years later, he got to understand that because of his $1,000, in addition to so many other thousands of dollars that people contributed, a young man said, because of your contribution, I was able to graduate from medical school because my mother was one of those people that was trained to sew. What am I saying? We never know when the little good we do in Rotary, actually, how far it can trickle down. It can trickle down several years later. You can see the results almost immediately. But what we do, we don't do it and we are not expecting anybody to tell us thank you. We do it because we know that there is a need. Now that man's $1,000, he never knew who was going to benefit from it. But just like that young man who became a doctor, so many other people may have also benefited from the thousands of women who were able to get trained. These men here, and women by the way, don't get money from government. They don't get money from a political party. They deny themselves of what they have. They take a little fraction of what they have. And they say, we have a project, we have seen a need. We went to this place, the children there, the school is horrible, it's in a bad state. The roofs are leaking and the kids there are actually in a pool of water. Most of those kids will just put blocks on the floor and that is their sitting chairs. Those are the desks that they have. And they see those needs and they come back and say, you know what, this is gonna cost us like 2.5 million. We don't have it. Who can raise money? Yes, I have 10,000. No, I have 20. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. I'll give 100. And before you know it, they might be able to raise 2.5, or sometimes they don't raise that much. So they're going to do work based on what they're able to raise. And if they cannot raise it, sometimes they reach out to their friends. Please support us. This is what we are trying to do. The more we put our stories out there to the public to hear, the more we're able to get more people to join us to do the things we do. First of all, we have more hands to do the work. We have more resources to do the work. We have more passion because each person comes with a lot of compassion in his heart. And then we'll have fresh perspective. I've told my president here, while you do the work you do, please ensure that you work with the media because only them can help us to tell the stories of what you do. I say, oh, but when we get to them, we'll have to pay. I said, they have to run a media organization. It's not for free. But you know what? If you collaborate with them, because they too need visibility. They too need people to know what they're doing. So sometimes you might want to come and say, please, DBS, let's work with you. It is Rotary Club of Ekpan and Rotary Club of Warri, along with DBS, we are doing this together. What do they benefit? Everybody gets, it's the symbiotic relationship. Everybody gets more visibility. That way, maybe you might not be paying too much. You understand? Well, I'm just using style to tell them not to charge it. Well, if you leave me here, I'm going to talk forever. You know why? Because I have been through so many trainings, and at the end of it all, the trainings I get is keep talking, don't stop talking. You know? That is the summary of it, what they tell you, keep talking. You know, so long as what you're saying is going to bring more persons to do the work of Rotary, just keep talking. My dear friend and general manager, I want to, on behalf of all these people here, and many of them who are not here, again, thank you for having us in your presence.
You're welcome.
And the reason we're here is to pay a courtesy visit to you. Thank you for all that you have done for us in the past, and ask that you continue to be our support. We are only about 1.2 persons in the whole world, and we cover about 200 different countries. In Nigeria, we're about 10,000 Rotarians, and we have 4 districts. But District 9141 is one that is in the core of the Niger Delta area. And you know, where the people that make things happen. But what we also know is that most of the humanitarian problems are in our region. Whether it's flood, whether it's environmental, whether it's water and sanitation, whether it's maternal and child health, go to Bayelsa. You see that sometimes kids still have to row their boats across to go to school. When the rains come, they have to build little bridges to go from one point to the other. Those are because of the problems we have because of our region. So at the end of the day, Rotary in the 9141, we have so much more work to do because of the region that we live in, and we're not going to stop. So long as we have you and we have a partnership of folks like you, I don't believe we're ever going to stop. Thank you.
You're welcome. There are 2 things principally you've mentioned. And those two things are actually what Nigeria needs today. And I wish you can communicate this to our leaders, to our politicians, and to our people. The summary of all that you've said: sacrifice relationship. No good relationship between the people and the government. And so that network for increased productivity and betterment of the society is not there. Many of these persons are in Rotary Club. Question I'm tempted to ask is, these things that you preach, does it reflect in this our leaders when they are in public service? The truth of it, my dear governor, is that Nigerians are suffering so much. And that suffering makes what Rotary, in spite of all that Rotary is doing, is just like a drop
in the ocean.
In the ocean. All these beautiful ideas, principally the sacrificial disposition that you've talked about, the relationship for the betterment of the society, we should find a way to pass it on to leadership of our nation so that we'll have a better country. So the media, you spoke about it, we are very willing to partner with. There is no way you can actually render service satisfactorily without first investing in communication. People need to know what you are doing. Of course. People need to see what you are doing. And when the communication agencies of the society are not functioning optimally, what you are doing is just like somebody dancing in the dark. We are willing to partner with you. Also come to us, know our challenges, and where you can also help in our development. When you help in our development, then we, of course, will gladly blow the trumpet that you want us to blow for you.
This is that, you know, you did throw something back to us. And what about Rotarians who are in government? How are they doing and all? Quite frankly, it just happens that a lot of people who are in government might not actually necessarily be in Rotary. We'll probably have just a handful of them there. But there's something we do with government people. We'll go to major government places and we'll put billboards. I'm sure you heard about the four-way test.
Yes.
And we'll go to a high court premises, we'll put those billboards. What can you do? You can only preach so much and hope that they can take it. Whatever you're doing, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring goodwill and better friendship? Is it beneficial to all concerned? That is the best you can do. Tell you, please hang it in your offices. So when people come in, they see that this is what you believe in. You believe in doing things right. So you walk into most of those offices, we have them, we go to them, we place them in there. Please display this prominently so that people can come and say, wow. And they'll ask you, you see, when you have a billboard that says, whatever, you're talking about four-way test, and you want to collect bribe from somebody, the person will be looking at you. With this thing behind you, you want to collect this kind of bribe. Some of them find it difficult to. But we go there, we hang it in their premises. They come to us, maybe they commission projects, or they come to talk to us, we give them gifts, the four-way test plaque, so they can put it on their tables and wherever. They can use letter, which is called the transformer. And we have 3 editions here for July, August, and September. Please, we want you to have this, and maybe we're going to have the secretary get your email address so we can send you a soft copy of the single map.
Okay.
And you get to read what it is that Rotary is doing, once in a while. For this year, every year the Rotary International President comes out with a theme. Our Rotary motto is service above self. In other words, whatever we do, we're going to serve.